She walked into the restaurant and every eye turned toward her, not out of admiration, but for another reason. Diana Grant, a black billionaire who built her empire from nothing, had entered a place where not everyone thought she belonged, and tonight she was not welcome. Le Renouveau, the most prestigious Michelin-starred restaurant in the city, a place where only the elite dined. Diana had booked a table a week in advance, complete with the exclusive chef's menu. But as she confidently spoke her name, the response she received was, "I'm sorry, the special menu is no longer available." It was a simple sentence, but the look in the staff's eyes told a different story. They didn't refuse the menu, they refused her. And Diana, unfortunately, knew that look all too well. Remaining calm, Diana took her seat at a small table tucked away in a corner, the standard menu placed in front of her. As she opened it, her attention was drawn to a couple who had just entered. They hadn't made a reservation, yet they were immediately escorted to a prime table, served the exclusive menu Diana was denied. It wasn't a coincidence, it was a message. And Diana understood it clearly. You don't belong here. But what they didn't know was that Diana wasn't the type to leave quietly. As she walked out of the restaurant that evening, her outward composure masked a fierce resolve burning inside her. If they think I don't belong at this table, I'll make this place mine. They denied her because of her skin color, but that denial ignited a fire. Diana Grant was not just a guest that night, she was about to become the owner. And her journey was only just beginning. Before we dive into this captivating story of determination, transformation, and legacy, take a moment to support our channel. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss another inspiring tale. And don't forget to comment below, what does legacy mean to you? Let's start the conversation. To understand this story, we first need to understand Diana Grant, the woman behind the success, the battles she's fought, and the prejudice she has faced all her life. Diana Grant wasn't born into privilege or luck. She grew up in a struggling neighborhood on the outskirts of Atlanta, where every day was a fight for survival. Her family, one of the few black families in the area, faced constant prejudice from neighbors and the society around them. Even as a child, Diana showed exceptional intelligence and a fierce willpower. She was one of the top students in her school, yet often underestimated by teachers and classmates because of her skin color. She once overheard a teacher say, "People like her will never amount to anything." But instead of letting those words discourage her, Diana turned them into fuel for her ambitions. After graduating with a full scholarship, Diana pursued finance at a top university. It was there that she began laying the foundation for the empire she would one day build. With determination and talent, Diana launched her first company at just 25 years old. Despite facing countless prejudices from investors and clients, she slowly but surely turned it into a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. But success wasn't enough to break every barrier. Success couldn't erase the judgmental stares she had grown used to since childhood, and Le Renouveau would serve as a prime example. Le Renouveau, the most prestigious Michelin-starred restaurant in the city, was a place reserved for the elite. From its exquisite dishes to its opulent ambiance, everything about it was designed to exude luxury and power. The restaurant was located in the heart of the city, frequented by the wealthy and influential. It wasn't just a dining establishment, it was a symbol of status. But beneath the glamorous facade, Le Renouveau carried a dark history. For years, it was quietly known as a place that excluded those who didn't fit the right mold. And on that evening, Diana became its latest victim. Alongside Diana in every step of her journey was Alicia Carter, her loyal assistant and closest friend. Alicia wasn't just her right hand. She was the constant reminder of Diana's worth and strength. Alicia, too, came from a challenging background, much like Diana, but she chose to remain behind the scenes to support her friend. Alicia was meticulous and sharp. She ensured that every detail in Diana's plans was flawless. But that evening, even Alicia couldn't hide her outrage. When the exclusive menu was denied at Le Renouveau, Alicia wanted to speak up immediately. But Diana stopped her, calmly saying, "We don't need to argue with them. I have another way to respond." And that single statement, laid the groundwork for Diana's bold actions to come. For Diana, Le Renouveau wasn't just a restaurant. It was a symbol of the systemic injustice she had faced her entire life. But instead of viewing it as a defeat, Diana decided to turn it into an opportunity. Le Renouveau wasn't just personally significant. It represented the larger system of exclusion that Diana had been fighting against. But to understand why Diana chose silence that evening, we must understand that she wasn't just a successful woman. She was someone who played the long game, waiting for the perfect moment to act. Diana walked out of the restaurant that night, not with anger, but with resolve. She knew she couldn't change how they viewed her with a single complaint, but she knew she could change the system behind them. And from that moment on, Le Renouveau was no longer just a restaurant with an exclusive menu. It became a battleground, where Diana would not only claim victory for herself, but for everyone who had ever been denied like her. That night, Diana left Le Renouveau with a composed demeanor, but inside her, a storm was brewing. She wasn't angry, nor was she in a rush to act. Diana knew that great battles couldn't be won with impulsiveness. She needed a plan, and that plan began the moment she stepped into her car. The moment she got home, Diana opened her laptop and began digging into Le Renouveau. This wasn't just a Michelin-starred restaurant she had dined at. It carried a far more complex story. Diana discovered that Le Renouveau was one of the establishments owned by Belmont Hospitality, a company renowned for managing luxury hotels and restaurants. However, upon delving deeper into their financial reports, Diana uncovered a surprising truth. Le Renouveau had been hemorrhaging revenue for the past 3 years, especially following the pandemic. Diana smiled as she read the reports. Beneath all its glitz and glamour, Le Renouveau was struggling to stay afloat, and she knew this was her opportunity. The next day, Diana called Alicia into her office to discuss her plan. On the desk lay stacks of documents filled with numbers and projections. But those weren't enough. Diana needed Alicia not just as an assistant, but as a strategic ally. Le Renouveau isn't just a restaurant. It's a symbol of injustice. And I want to change that. I'm going to buy it. You're going to buy Le Renouveau? Diana, we're running a billion-dollar real estate empire. Is this restaurant worth your time? It is. Alicia, not for the profits, but for the message. If I do this, I won't just change one restaurant. I'll change how they see us. Alicia paused for a moment before nodding. She knew Diana never made decisions lightly, and this time was no different. Diana didn't rush into action. Before making any offer, she needed to understand the system she was about to challenge. Diana hired a team of financial experts to analyze Belmont Hospitality's operations thoroughly. Their detailed reports revealed that Le Renouveau was one of the company's most burdensome assets, but it also had the potential for a remarkable turnaround if managed correctly. Diana realized that if she presented the right offer, Belmont's investors wouldn't be able to refuse. As Diana began approaching Belmont Hospitality's key stakeholders, she encountered a major obstacle: Raymond Carter, one of the largest and most conservative shareholders of the company. Raymond, coldly, "Ms. Grant, I don't think you understand this industry. We don't need your help, and Le Renouveau is not for people like you." Diana, smiling sharply, "People like me? What exactly do you mean?" "Mr. Carter, a black woman who has achieved more than you ever could?" Raymond remained silent, but his expression revealed everything. Diana didn't falter, but she knew that overcoming someone like Raymond would require a different strategy. Diana pressed on, approaching each of Belmont's other shareholders with a tailored plan and an offer they couldn't ignore. "Diana, during a meeting with a shareholder, you know as well as I do that Le Renouveau can't survive long with its current model. But I have a plan to not just save it, but to make it a global icon, and I'm offering a price no one else will." Her words began to sway opinions. Gradually, Diana secured agreements from most of the shareholders, except for Raymond Carter. But she knew his consent wasn't a deal-breaker. Just as Diana neared the finish line, a new rival entered the scene: Victor Hayes, a wealthy but controversial businessman. Victor, during a board meeting, "Diana Grant may be a billionaire, but she doesn't understand the luxury service industry. If Le Renouveau were mine, I'd elevate it to an entirely new level. Victor wasn't just competing with Diana for the deal. He began spreading rumors in the media to undermine her credibility. Headlines appeared across social media. Can Diana Grant handle an iconic luxury brand like Le Renouveau? As Diana prepared for the final board meeting, she knew this would be her most critical moment. She had won over most of the shareholders, but a few key figures, including Raymond Carter and Victor Hayes, remained skeptical. This was her last chance to secure the deal and prove that her vision for Le Renouveau was not just ambitious, but achievable. The room was filled with Belmont's most influential shareholders and board members. Victor Hayes sat confidently at one end of the table, exuding arrogance. Raymond Carter remained stoic, his sharp gaze fixed on Diana as if daring her to falter. But Diana was no stranger to pressure. She walked into the room with her head held high, her every move exuding authority. Victor, leaning back in his chair, smirking, "Let me guess, Miss Grant." Another grand speech about diversity and inclusion. While that sounds noble, it doesn't exactly pay the bills. Diana, calm but assertive. "You're right, Victor. Words alone don't make money, but a strong vision, backed by strategic execution, does." Diana clicked a remote, and a presentation appeared on the screen. The first slide displayed a detailed financial breakdown of Le Renouveau's current state. "Diana, let's not sugarcoat things. Le Renouveau is bleeding money. Its operational costs are unsustainable, and customer retention has plummeted by 35% over the past 3 years. If you stay on this path, this restaurant will become a liability, no matter how many Michelin stars it has." Her blunt assessment sent a ripple of murmurs through the room. Even Victor's confident smirk wavered slightly. Diana, changing slides to her proposed plan, "But it doesn't have to be this way. With the right changes, Le Renouveau can not only recover but thrive. My team has already mapped out a 3-phase restructuring plan focusing on streamlined operations, innovative marketing, and, most importantly, expanding the customer base by embracing inclusivity." The next slide showcased mock-ups of a reimagined Le Renouveau, blending its signature luxury with a welcoming atmosphere that appealed to a broader audience. Diana, inclusivity doesn't mean lowering standards, as some might claim. Pausing to glance pointedly at Victor, it means creating an environment where everyone who values excellence feels they belong. And that's how you build loyalty, reputation, and long-term profitability. Victor interrupted, his voice dripping with skepticism. "Victor, a nice pitch. Miss Grant, but it's idealistic. This isn't a community center. It's a luxury brand. People come to Le Renouveau for exclusivity, not accessibility." Diana, smiling sharply. "Exclusivity doesn't mean excluding people based on outdated biases. Customers come for the experience, the food, the service, the ambiance. If we deliver that without alienating potential patrons, we gain more than we lose." She moved to the final slide, which displayed her financial offer for Le Renouveau, a figure significantly above market value. "Diana, and I'm willing to back my vision with numbers. My offer gives you more value than you'll find anywhere else. This isn't just about me taking ownership. It's about giving Le Renouveau the future it deserves." The room fell silent. Board members exchanged glances, weighing her words. Victor's confidence began to crack as he realized the weight of Diana's offer. Raymond Carter, who had been quiet until now, finally spoke. Raymond, gruffly, "Ms. Grant, you make a compelling case. But let's be clear, this isn't just about numbers. It's about whether your vision can maintain the prestige of Le Renouveau." Diana, locking eyes with him. "Prestige isn't built on exclusion, Mr. Carter. It's built on excellence. And I've built my career on delivering just that. Give me this chance, and I'll prove it to you." Raymond leaned back, his expression unreadable. After a tense pause, he gave a single nod. The room erupted into murmurs of approval. Victor Hayes, realizing he had lost, sat back in silence as the board moved to approve Diana's proposal. As with the deal finalized, Diana Grant became the new owner of Le Renouveau. But this victory wasn't just a business transaction. It was the beginning of a transformation that would challenge everything the restaurant once stood for. But Diana's victory was only the beginning. Now, she faced an even greater challenge, transforming Le Renouveau and making her vision a reality. Her journey had just begun. Diana Grant had conquered Belmont hospitality, but her victory was only the beginning. As she stepped into Le Renouveau as its new owner, Diana knew she wasn't just taking over a restaurant. She was challenging a deeply entrenched system of outdated and unjust traditions. On Diana's first day as the new owner of Le Renouveau, the tension in the air was palpable. Eyes followed her every move, not with welcome, but with skepticism and caution. Robert Finch, the longtime manager of Le Renouveau, was one of the first to approach Diana. But instead of showing respect, he displayed arrogance. Robert coldly, "Welcome, Ms. Grant. I must say, it's hard to imagine Le Renouveau under the leadership of someone with no experience in fine dining." Diana, sharp, refusing to be intimidated. "Thank you for the warm welcome, Mr. Finch, and I must say, it's hard to imagine how this restaurant's revenue has dropped 35% in the last 3 years. Perhaps it's because some managers here have grown too complacent." Diana's response left Robert momentarily speechless, though his gaze remained defiant. Diana knew that Robert wouldn't easily accept the changes she was about to bring. Diana began her tenure by holding a meeting with the entire Le Renouveau staff. She knew that to successfully reform the restaurant, she needed their cooperation, or at least their compliance. During the meeting, Diana unveiled her reform plan, which included retaining diversity and inclusion experts to retrain the staff, revamping the menu to reflect a broader range of global culinary influences, enforcing new policies to ensure that all customers were treated equally. Diana, persuasively, Le Renouveau is not just a restaurant. It will be a symbol of excellence and inclusion. But to achieve that, we need to change. Not everyone was pleased with these changes. Some longtime employees openly resisted. One staff member grumbling, "Why change things when everything has worked fine for years?" Diana, overhearing, standing to address them directly. "Worked fine? Declining revenue, dissatisfied customers, and new employees feeling unwelcome. Is that what you call fine? If you're not ready to change, Le Renouveau is no longer the place for you." Diana's firmness silenced the room, but she knew that words alone wouldn't be enough. To truly transform the restaurant, she would have to prove her plan could work. In the first few weeks, Diana faced a barrage of challenges from within the team. Robert Finch, in particular, covertly undermined her efforts. He falsified reports, delayed training sessions, and spread rumors that Diana didn't understand the restaurant industry. On one occasion, Diana discovered that Robert had cancelled a scheduled diversity training session with an outside expert. Diana, furious, confronting Robert, "Mr. Finch, what exactly do you think you're doing?" Robert, defiantly, "I think we should focus on serving our customers instead of wasting time on these pointless sessions." Diana, coldly, "If you continue to act like this, I won't hesitate to replace you. This is your final warning." The tension between Diana and Robert escalated, but Diana refused to back down. She knew that to succeed, she had to confront and resolve these challenges head-on. Outside the restaurant, Diana's changes also faced backlash from some of Le Renouveau's loyal customers. Many believed she was destroying the prestige of the establishment. One evening, a longtime patron, Mr. Arthur Belmont, expressed dissatisfaction with the revamped menu. Arthur, mockingly, "I come here for sophistication, not to try dishes for the masses." "This is disappointing," Diana responding with a polite smile. "Mr. Belmont, sophistication isn't about the dish itself, but how it's crafted and served. I'm confident that once you try these new dishes, you'll find them just as exceptional." Although Diana maintained her composure, complaints from customers like Arthur made her realize that her battle was far from over. A month after Diana took over, an incident at the restaurant pushed everything to a boiling point. A new employee, hired from an underrepresented community, was publicly insulted by a wealthy patron. Patron, condescendingly, You don't belong here. Don't touch my wineglass. Diana, stepping in immediately. Sir, Le Renouveau does not tolerate discriminatory behavior of any kind. If you cannot respect my staff, I will have to ask you to leave. Diana's actions angered the patron, who stormed out. But the incident quickly went viral on social media. Public opinion was divided. Some praised Diana's decision, while others accused her of damaging the restaurant's reputation. Diana refused to let the controversy deter her. She decided to address the public directly, hosting a press conference to share her vision for Le Renouveau. Diana, speaking to the press, Le Renouveau is not just a Michelin-starred restaurant. It will be a symbol of inclusion and excellence. We welcome everyone who values perfection, no matter who they are or where they come from. The press conference garnered significant attention. Many began to see Diana not just as a businesswoman, but as a leader willing to stand up for what she believed in. But Diana knew her journey was far from over. To truly transform Le Renouveau, she needed to win not just inside the restaurant, but in the hearts of its customers and the community. Her fight was only beginning. Diana Grant had weathered the turbulent first weeks of her reform efforts at Le Renouveau. But just as things began to stabilize, a buried truth about the restaurant's dark history came to light, presenting Diana with a challenge far greater than anything she had faced before. One morning, while reviewing historical documents about Le Renouveau, Alicia, Diana's trusted assistant, came across an old, forgotten file. The faded pages revealed a past that no one wanted to acknowledge. In its early years, Le Renouveau had implemented covert policies of racial exclusion, serving only upper-class white patrons. Major events held at the restaurant, banquets, meetings, and celebrations, deliberately excluded people from minority communities. Alicia calling Diana, her voice tinged with concern. Diana, you need to see this. Diana froze as she read the pages, the words spelling out rules and practices that had once been the backbone of Le Renouveau. Diana, taking a deep breath, her tone heavy. I knew this place had issues, but I didn't realize it ran this deep. Diana felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. She wasn't just reforming a restaurant. She was confronting a legacy of injustice that Le Renouveau had once represented. Diana knew she couldn't ignore this revelation. But before making any public decisions, she called a meeting with her management team and key staff members. Diana, opening the meeting, her voice firm. I have something to share. We've uncovered a part of Le Renouveau's history that was intentionally hidden. This restaurant was not just a place of luxury, it was once a symbol of exclusion and discrimination. Diana laid out the details of the covert policies and practices from Le Renouveau's early years. The room fell into a stunned silence. Robert, hesitant. Ms. Grant, I don't think this should be made public. If we bring this up, the restaurant's reputation will be destroyed. Diana, meeting his eyes, her tone resolute. It's silence that allowed this system to persist for so long. If we truly want to change, we must face the truth, no matter how painful it is. When Diana announced her intention to make Le Renouveau's history public, opposition emerged from all sides. Some members of her management team worried that revealing the truth would alienate their affluent clientele and harm the restaurant's recovering revenue. A senior manager, Diana, if we do this, we'll lose our loyal customers. Nobody wants to dine in a place tied to discrimination. Diana, I'm not afraid of losing customers who can't accept change. I care about building a fairer future for Le Renouveau. Meanwhile, news of the restaurant's history leaked through an anonymous source, sparking heated debates in the media. Some articles accused Diana of digging up the past, while others praised her bravery. Amid public criticism, internal resistance, and mounting pressure, Diana faced one of her most challenging moments since taking over Le Renouveau. Rather than shy away, Diana decided to host a public symposium to confront Le Renouveau's history. She invited historians, community leaders, and even former employees who had worked at the restaurant during its discriminatory era. Diana, opening the event, her voice steady. When I acquired Le Renouveau, I knew I was taking on more than a restaurant. I was taking on its legacy. But we cannot move forward without acknowledging the past. Today, We confront the truth together and lay the foundation for a better future. The symposium was a powerful event. Historians detailed the discriminatory practices once ingrained in Le Renouveau, while former employees shared emotional accounts of what they had witnessed. One former employee, Mr. James Walker, recounted, "I worked here in the 60s. I remember the stares of disdain when I walked into the kitchen to grab a glass of water for a guest. It's a feeling I'll never forget." Mr. Walker's story moved many in the audience, including Diana, to tears. Not everyone supported Diana's decision. A group of loyal customers declared their intent to boycott Le Renouveau, claiming the restaurant had lost its elite identity. An op-ed in a leading financial magazine criticized, "Le Renouveau is destroying itself by trying to please everyone." Diana, responding in an interview, her voice calm but determined, "If maintaining an elite identity means perpetuating exclusion and prejudice, then that's not a legacy I'm interested in preserving. Le Renouveau will be a place for all who value excellence." The symposium ended with mixed emotions. Some left in anger, while others stayed behind, quietly reflecting on the story Diana had unearthed. Public opinion remained divided, and Diana knew that to triumph, she needed more than an inspiring speech. She needed action. Immediately after the symposium, Diana took a bold step no one anticipated. She reached out to local organizations and communities that Le Renouveau had once excluded. Diana organized private meetings with community leaders and non-profit organizations in the city. She didn't just apologize for Le Renouveau's past. She committed to transforming the restaurant into a new symbol, a place where everyone could feel welcome. Diana, during one meeting, "We cannot change the past, but we can build a better future. I want Le Renouveau to be a place that everyone is proud to visit, regardless of who they are." Diana's sincerity began to resonate. These organizations agreed to collaborate and even help spread Le Renouveau's new message within their communities. But Diana knew that change couldn't just stop at outreach. To truly transform Le Renouveau, she needed to ensure every guest felt uniquely valued. Diana partnered with renowned chefs from around the world to design a new menu that celebrated diverse culinary traditions. She also introduced special dining experience events where guests could learn about the origins of the dishes and the stories behind them. Diana, during a menu launch event, "This menu is not just about food. It's about celebrating culture, inclusivity, and the stories of those who were once overlooked." The new menu launch quickly captured the attention of the media and the culinary world. Critics who had once doubted Diana began to shift their perspectives. Despite her progress, Diana continued to face backlash from a core group of loyal customers who valued Le Renouveau's exclusive reputation. A scathing article in a prestigious culinary magazine criticized, "Le Renouveau is turning into an ordinary establishment, losing the exclusivity it once prided itself on." Rather than shy away, Diana chose to address these criticisms head-on by hosting a special event for long-time patrons. Diana, speaking at the event, "I understand that some of you feel we're changing too much, but I want you to know that the quality and sophistication of Le Renouveau remain the same. The only thing we've changed is how we define sophistication. It's no longer about exclusion, but about inclusion." The event concluded with positive feedback from many long-time customers. Some even admitted that Diana's changes had given them a refreshing new perspective on what Le Renouveau could be. After months of effort, the story of Le Renouveau's transformation began to garner widespread support from the media. Articles praised Diana as a trailblazer, not just for reforming a restaurant, but for challenging outdated notions of luxury and inclusivity. A headline from a leading financial newspaper read, "Le Renouveau, from a symbol of the past to a beacon of the future." A prominent food critic, "Le Renouveau's transformation is not just about food, it's about spirit." It's a shining example of how sophistication can coexist with inclusivity. These positive reviews not only helped restore the restaurant's reputation, but also attracted a new demographic of diners, young, diverse, and eager to embrace change. One of the most memorable moments came from a special guest, Mr. James Walker, a former employee of Le Renouveau during its discriminatory years. After experiencing the new menu and witnessing the changes in how the restaurant operated, Mr. Walker shared an emotional reflection. I never thought I'd have the chance to sit here as a guest, to feel respected and know that I belong. Thank you. Diana responding, her voice filled with emotion. No, thank you. Your story gave me the motivation to make these changes. In the end, Diana didn't just revive Le Renouveau from the brink of financial collapse. She turned it into a symbol of inclusivity, a place where everyone could feel welcome. Diana, internal monologue. They once thought I didn't belong here, but now I've made this place ours, a place for everyone. Yet Diana knew her journey wasn't over. The values she had built at Le Renouveau needed to be nurtured and expanded, and she was ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. But Diana didn't just reform a restaurant, she created a new symbol of inclusion and excellence. But she knew her journey wasn't over. Greater challenges lay ahead, and Diana was ready to face them all. Le Renouveau had overcome its initial challenges. Diana Grant not only succeeded in transforming the restaurant into a new symbol, but also gained recognition from the community and the culinary world. However, for Diana, this was far from the end. She saw a greater opportunity to reshape the future of the luxury service industry in a way no one had imagined. One morning, Diana stood by her office window, gazing at the sprawling city below. An idea that had been simmering in her mind finally took form. Le Renouveau was just the beginning. Diana envisioned expanding this model to other places. Diana to Alicia, speaking confidently. Alicia, we can't stop here. Le Renouveau has proven that excellence and inclusivity can coexist. I want to take this concept nationwide, even global. Alicia, surprised. You're planning to build a chain of restaurants? Diana, smiling. Not just restaurants. I want to create a network of luxury destinations, restaurants, hotels, resorts, all built on our core values, excellence and welcome. Diana's idea excited her management team at Le Renouveau, but it also made them nervous. Expanding the model required significant resources and carried inherent risks. As Diana began laying out her plans, she quickly encountered her first obstacles. Some investors doubted her vision, while others argued that her model couldn't work on a larger scale. An investor skeptically, Diana, I don't deny what you've accomplished with Le Renouveau, but scaling this model is a completely different story. The luxury service industry thrives on exclusivity. If you make everything inclusive, you'll lose the uniqueness customers seek. Diana calmly responding, exclusivity is no longer the only path to excellence. Today's customers want to feel valued and belong, not just in one place but everywhere. And I'll prove that this isn't just possible, it's sustainable. Even so, Diana knew she needed a groundbreaking move to convince investors and potential partners. Diana decided to host a grand event at Le Renouveau, bringing together key industry figures, media representatives, and major investors. The event wasn't just to present her vision, but also to demonstrate the transformative power of her values. Event theme: Luxury Service in the New Era, Inclusivity and Excellence. Diana invited experts from various fields, culinary arts, hospitality, and community leadership, to share insights on the necessity of change in the luxury service industry. Diana, opening the event. Le Renouveau has proven that luxury doesn't need exclusion. We can create spaces where perfection is shared, not reserved for a select few, and I believe this is the future of our industry. Her speech received a warm reception, but the most remarkable part of the event was yet to come. To conclude the event, Diana unveiled a surprise, a special banquet featuring collaborations between top chefs from diverse cultural backgrounds. Each dish was not just a culinary masterpiece, but also accompanied by its story. A narrative about cultural exchange, inclusivity, and community values. A Mexican chef, this dish recreates the dinners my family shared when I was young. I want everyone to feel the warmth and belonging I felt at those meals. A Japanese chef, this is more than sushi. It's a tribute to my family's tradition, a craft honed over generations. The dishes not only impressed the guests, but also highlighted Diana's vision. Luxury service as a fusion of excellence, storytelling, and emotion. Following the event, Le Renouveau once again became the focus of media attention. Numerous articles praised the event as a turning point for the luxury service industry. A headline in a prominent business magazine: Diana Grant, leading a revolution in luxury service. A major investor emailing Diana: I was unsure about your plan, but last night's event completely changed my perspective. I'd love to discuss how we can collaborate further. The wave of support from the media and investors brought Diana one step closer to making her vision a reality. However, as Diana began implementing her expansion plans, not everyone on her team was on board. Some members of Le Renouveau's management worried that scaling up too quickly might compromise quality and undo what they had built. Robert, during a meeting: Diana, we've just stabilized Le Renouveau. If you expand too soon, and we could lose everything. Diana, calm yet resolute: Robert, I understand your concerns, but if we don't move forward, we'll be stuck in a comfort zone. I didn't build Le Renouveau to stop here. The internal debate presented a new challenge for Diana. She knew that to succeed, she needed her team to believe in her larger vision. Overcoming these hurdles, Diana began taking tangible steps to expand Le Renouveau's model. She signed partnerships with international collaborators, planning to open 2 additional restaurants and a luxury resort under a new brand. Simultaneously, she launched a leadership training program to build a management team that embodied her core values. Diana, during a press conference: I'm not just building a business, I'm building a legacy, a network of luxury services that represent excellence and inclusivity. The first steps were set in motion, but Diana knew the road ahead would be filled with challenges. Yet she remained undaunted. With her vision, Diana was ready to redefine the future of the luxury service industry, not just for today, but for generations to come. After years of overcoming challenges, rebuilding from the ground up, and breaking down barriers, Diana Grant had transformed Le Renouveau into a symbol of inclusivity and excellence. But for her, this story didn't end with a restaurant or a chain of projects. She was creating a legacy that would live on for generations. 3 years after the initial symposium at Le Renouveau, Diana had successfully expanded her model worldwide. Her restaurants, hotels, and resorts under a new brand appeared in major cities like New York, Paris, Tokyo, and Cape Town. Each location upheld the core values: welcoming all, celebrating diversity, and maintaining excellence. A headline from the New York Times read, Diana Grant has achieved what many deemed impossible. She has redefined luxury, transforming it into something everyone can experience and cherish. During the opening of a new restaurant in Cape Town, Diana met a young employee named Emmanuel, a boy from a small village, full of passion, but with no prior opportunity to enter the luxury service industry. Emmanuel, nervously approaching Diana: Ms. Grant, I don't know if I belong here. I'm just an ordinary person. Diana, smiling warmly: Emmanuel, I've heard those words before. Remember, excellence isn't about where we start, but where we choose to go. You've chosen to stand here today. That already proves you belong. Diana's words not only inspired Emmanuel, but also affirmed that her legacy wasn't just in buildings or cuisine. It was in the lives she transformed along the way. Even when everything seemed perfect, Diana faced one final challenge: a major corporation in the luxury service industry, infamous for its covert discriminatory practices, decided to compete directly with Diana by copying her model, but without preserving its core values. The corporation launched new locations under the tagline, Luxury for Everyone. But behind the scenes, they maintained exclusionary policies, Alicia warning Diana. Diana, they're undermining everything we've built. If we don't act, our values will be distorted. Diana, with unwavering determination: we don't need to play their game. True value doesn't need to compete. It proves itself through what we offer to others. Rather than focusing on her competitor, Diana decided to organize a global event, Day of Inclusion, where all locations in her network opened their doors for free, welcoming diners from all walks of life. The Day of Inclusion became a historic event. At every location, thousands of people gathered, not just to enjoy fine dining, but to experience the true meaning of inclusivity. An elderly patron in Paris shared, "This is the first time I've walked into a luxury restaurant and felt everyone was treated equally, no matter their appearance or status." A child in Cape Town, "This is so delicious." And the nice lady serving me even smiled at me. The Day of Inclusion not only garnered widespread media attention, but also reaffirmed that Diana's values couldn't be replicated. She had set a new standard, a standard everyone had to acknowledge. One afternoon, Diana stood outside Le Renouveau, the place where it all began. She watched employees working with smiles on their faces, customers enjoying their meals, and a small sign at the entrance that read, "Welcome to a place where everyone belongs." Diana smiled, knowing her mission was complete. Diana, internal monologue, "A legacy isn't what we build today, it's what we leave behind for tomorrow." Diana Grant didn't just transform the luxury service industry. She started a movement, a reminder that luxury and inclusivity are not mutually exclusive. But her journey wasn't over. Diana continued exploring new ways to shape the world, one step at a time. And so the story of Diana Grant and Le Renouveau isn't just a story about one woman, it's a story about change, a legacy that lives on forever. And that's the inspiring journey of Diana Grant. What are your thoughts on her story? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories like this. Together, we can embrace inclusivity and excellence. Thank you for watching, and remember, every small action can create a ripple of change. Take care, stay inspired, and may kindness and success follow you wherever you go. See you in the next video.